Dear students, today I'll discuss with you a very important topic in the international relations, that is Indo-Pakistan, India and Pakistan relations. Firstly, I'll tell you how the Pakistan was created in a very brief. The word Pakistan was created by one student of London, Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, in the mid-1930s. He gave the idea to Mr. Jinnah. Why not to demand the independent homeland from the Britishers for the Muslims, that is Pakistan. And finally, in 1940, Mr. Jinnah asked for the independent state of Pakistan from the Britishers. On the midnight of 14th and 15th August 1947, India was partitioned into Hindustan and Pakistan. Pakistan, where the Muslim League is in majority, and the rest of the country was formed as Hindustan. The princely states were given the choice to join either of the two, or they can remain independent. Now, the India-Pakistan relations, there are a lot of disputes. Before discussing the disputes, I would like to tell you about the anti-India mindset. Pakistan has developed a peculiar anti-India mindset. Among others, the origin of this peculiar malady traces itself to number one. Over 10 centuries long history of Muslim invasions, is rule over different parts of India, often characterized by violence, filled periods of lootings and destruction and various conversions of the people. Second, British administration's pro-Muslim policies during their 2-century administration. They desired to exploit the Muslim rules, residual infrastructure for establishing their control and perpetuating the same. Thirdly, anti-Hindu and anti-Congress policies of the Muslim League in the pre-independence year, which culminated into the two-nation story, and eventually the birth of Pakistan in 1947. Fourthly, and the preferential treatment that Pakistan received since its birth from Western powers, which did not like India's independent policies and non-alignment, and also the high moralizing tendencies in the international dealings. In the past 7 decades, for various compulsions faced by Pakistani ruling establishments, its peculiar anti-India mindset seemed to have intensified or rather hardened in a manner that inhibited the growth and development in the whole South Asia region. On one hand, and on the other, led to genesis and spread of terrorism from its soil to a large part of the globe. Some of the key components of manifestations of this peculiar Pakistani mindset are discussed. Pakistani mindsets are not going to disappear or dissolve in a hurry in the years to come into a neighborhood or friendly flow of cooperation. And it is an established institution according to the various scholars. According to Peter T. Coleman, very prominent thinker of the international relations, rightly pointed out that 95% of the most serious disputes in the world can be resolved. But India and Pakistan come under the irresistible 5%. The relations have always been locked in a vicious cycle. The acquisition of nuclear capabilities by both the countries had prevented a major conflict. Small-scale conflicts like the Kargil crisis of 1999 did take place. General Monty Python has rightly said that over a certain period of time, the Indo-Pak relations have become, in a sense, a sort of communal right disguised in armor. It is very evident that Pakistan had failed in many important ways. How did this happen? One explanation is that the state was excessively centralized. Domination of certain provinces caused resentment among the others, like Punjab. That resentment was not answered with decentralization, but with more autocratic methods. It made matter worse. Religion was tried to knit the state, but it failed and created more problems. There is a problem in using religion to integrate people. Which version of religion should be used? So this resulted in sectarianism. The roots of Pakistani states are shallow. Muslim leaders who fought for the creation of Pakistan geographically were not from the present day Pakistan. They were from northern India. The main agitation for the creation of Pakistan was in northern India. The people of present day Pakistan didn't have much to do with its creation. Some were princely states with little participation in any political agitation, and northwest frontier province till the last hour was unsympathetic to the Jinnah's agenda. Therefore, people there didn't know what a separate state was for. It was created in hurry, with no clarity regarding the political aims. Nor were they clear about the ideals they should have in a new state. For sure, they were never clear about the role of religion in the new state. A strange thing about the creation of Pakistan is that it was created in the name of religion by a man who was least religious, Jinnah. He was a modern and secular minded. He was once called the ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. The reason why he asked to a separate state was that he found that Congress was not really secular, as it claimed, and the nationalism it advocated was not civic nationalism, but Hindu nationalism. Therefore, in free India, Muslims would never be equal to the Hindus. Jinnah was sure that the new state should be secular and truly secular. As he said in his opening address to the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan. Now I think we should keep that in front of us as our ideal, and you will find that in course of time, Hindus would cease to be Hindus and Muslims would cease to be Muslims. Not in the religious sense, because that is the personal faith of each individual, but in the political sense as citizens of the state. When he was sure that secularism should be an ideal of the new state, Why did he launch his agitation in the idiom of religion? His mix of religion with politics was much worse than the Hindus' nationalism of the Congress. His call in 1946 for the direct action to achieve Pakistan led to the thousands of the deaths. He finally got his Pakistan because the Congress realized that not giving to him would cause many more massacres. He kept his views close to his chest. He never explained his position. He never shared his dreams. He simply used the people. He made them emotional, unreasonable, and irrational. Why should the Muslims of northern India kill their Hindu neighbors for the creation of a state near the Indus? Their position would be weakened in India by creation of a separate state. His followers didn't think. They were made not to think. That was Jinnah's style of leadership. A new state was created under the threat of violence with no idea of what its people's goals were to be. People knew not what they wanted and why they murdered their neighbors. Jinnah's advocacy of secularism in the Constituent Assembly was a cruel joke on them. There is a huge contrast between Mr. Jinnah and Mr. Gandhi. There can be no ethical means to ethical ends, was one of the convictions of Mr. Gandhi. He would always explain what he wanted, where he disagreed, and how he planned to register his protests. His methods educated his followers. Congress workers were trained in organizing resistance to authority. The non-violent way the people of India forced their government to redraw state borders on linguistic lines was an immediate example of his successful training. People of Pakistan had no such training. Jinnah's failures highlights the political significance of Gandhi's conviction on the link between the means and the ends, or put differently, between the ethics and the politics. So this is how the Pakistan was created. And since then till today, there are lot many areas of dispute between the two nations. One is a Kashmir. Kashmir was a state, Muslim dominated state, but ruled by a Hindu Raja, Mr. Hari Singh Dogra. So for the issue of Kashmir, there were various wars took place, like in 1947, 48, 1965, 1971, 1999 Kargil, and lately lot many surgical strikes. Then comes the Siachen Glacier. The third is the Sartrik Islands, which is in the Kutch region of Gujarat. Then comes the Indus Water Treaty, which was signed in 1960. Under that, the Baglihar Dam, Tulbul Navigation, and Krishna Ganga projects. Then there is also an issue of the Balochistan. Very vital and important area of dispute between the two is atomic weapons. India firstly tested a nuclear weapon in 1974 and secondly in 1998 in the first week of May. Just within a couple of days, Pakistan also followed it and they tested the nuclear bomb. And it's a matter of great concern, not for the two nations, not for the Asia, but for the entire world. And lastly is the psychological reason. These are the areas of dispute between the two. Thank you very much.